Welcome back for another video. We're back every Thursday as always to answer one simple question. What are the best managers around the world doing for Gameweek 9? Between them all, they finished top 10k 620 times, 58 top 1k finishes, 5 top 100 finishes, and an FPL World Champion. If there's one video you don't want to miss every week, it's this one, given the value of the data, so make sure you subscribe. It's completely free below. A quick manager highlight to get us going then. The Football Chatter has claimed the top spot after a score of 82 points last game week, which has taken him up to 33k overall. The average expert score was 73 points, well done if you managed to beat them. That was 17 points above the global average score of 56 points. Big shout out to Brady, who got the biggest score, like seriously clutch game week. He got 121 points. And that took him from 2.6 million to 300k just like that in 1 week. I mean, one big game really can change everything. And he's back on track chasing a fourth top 10k finish with a top 1k finish before as well. Transfer activity. So this week, just over a half, 51% are rolling. A quarter, 25% are making one transfer. 15% making 2 transfers and 5% making 3. There's a couple of managers making 4 transfers. And there's also a couple of wildcards active. A lot of bank transfers though, so despite all that transfer activity, just one -4 hit this week. So who are the top managers buying? Who are they selling? This week it's Enzo in at number 1 with 17% buying him. Not in Chelsea's squad last weekend, but back in the starting 11 Wednesday night in the Champions League, scoring a penalty as well. João Pedro was suspended, who may or may not have taken it, but I mean, given Enzo's buried 2 now, it could be him again on the next one. That said, they did win another one, which he gave to Esteval in that match as a confidence booster. And then Enzo came off at half time. So yeah, basically exactly what you want to see before potentially buying before Sunderland home. And by the way, 4.3 million Gus started up top and scored. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start against Sunderland as well, with João Pedro playing as a 10. But of course, Delap's not too far from return, so don't expect to be starting him every week. We might get a clue from Maresca in his Friday press conference. So it's Reinders who's the most sold player. Didn't expect that. 12% getting rid after that 58-minute sub last match for that 1-pointer. And a surprise bench in the Champions League as well. He came on second half. 9% are selling Gyökeres. A lot of those switching to Saka, but most are keeping hold of the Swede. He scored a brace in the Champions League Wednesday night. Not a very glamorous brace, but a huge result for Arsenal beating Atletico Madrid 4-0. And no two ways about it, that will give him a lot of confidence. And he came away with man of the match actually. This was a game where he did play genuinely well, like he was a menace with the press. He initiated counters, he won the ball back multiple times, and as I say, he got the 2 goals as well. Salah continues to bleed ownership with another 7% selling, and very few top all-timers still have him at this point. He looked a bit subdued after coming on in the Champions League, having been named on the bench and coming on second half. Interestingly though, Liverpool's fixtures are genuinely ridiculous from Game Week 12. So still a good 3 game weeks away to assess the lay of the land. That run from Game Week 12 onwards is Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton, Spurs, Wolves and Leeds. I mean, Salah's going to be off to AFCON before that Brighton home, so in 5 game weeks time. So maybe Gakpo could be the one that becomes super popular around them. No midfielder's got a higher non-penalty XGI than him. Isak also had to come off injured in the Champions League, so that's one to monitor. So yeah, 14% buying Saka, and there's more Arsenal investment beyond that as well. 10% buying Gabriel and 10% buying Timber. Despite Arsenal away next, 4% are moving early for Mateta after that hat-trick last game week. Palace's fixtures are amazing from Game Week 10, and I think in next week's video it's definitely going to be a big talking point, Palace, and which assets are the best ones. Chelsea have got an incredible fixture run themselves starting from this game week, which is why Enzo is also popular. It's Sunderland home, Spurs away, Wolves home, Burnley away. They've got Arsenal home after that, which is really the only game in the next 8 that you wouldn't like. And then after that, it's Leeds away, Bournemouth away, Everton home. Of course, Palmer could be back at some point during that run, which might affect Enzo's appeal later. Elsewhere, there's also Chalobah and Guy being bought, 5% buying Vortamada. So there's a couple of wildcards active. A very patient 21% have still got it in the back pocket. 3 hit is the most unused chip so far, 88% still have it. 6% have got the bench boost active as well. So Alex has got his wildcard active, and his team is Verbruggen, Gabriel, Calafiori, Keane, Bruno and Dye, Saka, Semenyo, Enzo, Haaland and Krupi Jr. And the bench is Dubravka, Mateta, Gudmundsson and Mukiele. I was trying to hold off until Gameweek 10 for the wildcard to see if we'd have any doubles or blanks, but I had to hit the button as the Evan Nilsson injury came in, the Malik Diouf benching, and with my poor team value the wheels were falling off. In goal, Dubravka's a no-brainer. I've gone with Verbruggen to spend as little as possible in that department. I'm also hoping that there's a clean sheets imminent factor with his upcoming fixtures. In defence, Gabriel, another no-brainer. I decided to go Calafiori as he seems to be getting rested for the Champions League, which bodes well for 90 minutes each week. He's not great for defcons, but he gets into some great attacking positions. Keane is in due to the Branthwaite news and upcoming fixtures, and the small potential blank for Chris Richards as well as the Anderson injury were my other options. Gumason and Mukiele on the bench, with the latter one of the best defcon options. Tuanzebe and Ryan Nilde were the other budget options, but although it's quite a while off, both are playing at the AFCON, so I wanted to keep those players at a minimum, presuming Ryan Nilde was Brazilian until I looked into it. Midfielders, I think this 5, mostly penalty takers, has a blend of defcons, open play threat and teams with decent defences, given that one extra valuable clean sheet point. Only Semenyo and Adai in this squad going to AFCON, which will have the 5 free transfers to deal with. Bruno is probably the most controversial pick here, but he showed his potential for points accumulation with 3 bonus for 1 assist versus Liverpool. And then the forwards, perma-captain Haaland an obvious choice, with the differential of Krupi Jr. up top for 1 week, with Mateta coming in from Gameweek 10 to make it another 2 differential penalty takers. On a side note, I'd love for FPL Towers to make the rule change of not being able to pick the same captain in consecutive weeks. I like the additional chips this season and acknowledge they were brought in to make the casual player more engaged, but I think this rule change would benefit both the casual and the addicts. Get the FPL petition going. Thanks very much for that. And Christian is one of those who's got the bench boost active, and his team is Raya, Burns, Senesi, Gabriel, Tarkowski, Semenyo, Ndiaye, Bruno, Gyökeres and Haaland. So the bench boost is Dubravka, Stack, Rodon and Reinders. The moment for the bench boost chip has arrived following the Gameweek 6 wildcard. However, the plan faces complications due to Anderson's injury and fresh fitness concerns regarding Stack. Despite these setbacks, my current intention is to proceed as planned and push the button. On paper, the bench looks promising, anchored by my 2 Leeds assets, Rodon and Stack, and Dubravka's a reliable second choice goalkeeper with favourable fixtures. The immediate challenge is addressing the void left by the injured Anderson. Using a transfer, selling a good FPL asset solely for a 1 week chip feels suboptimal. But this is tempered by the prospect of 5 additional free transfers becoming available around AFCON. Fulham's appealing fixture schedule going forward might even justify a swift return for Anderson, depending on the length of his injury. Option 1 in the Borough move is Anderson to Burn. I'm leaning towards replacing Anderson with a Newcastle defender, most likely Burn. This is the most conservative approach, and it keeps the options open for the forward line overhaul next week. Coincidentally, Newcastle and Anderson's team face one another this game week crucially, and Newcastle boasts excellent long-term fixtures and Burn offers decent value for money. Option 2, I could bring another Bournemouth defender like Traffel Diakite to play alongside Senesi. Or option 3, the more aggressive strategy involves a double transfer, sacrificing both Anderson and Gyökeres to triple up on Arsenal's defence. Their defensive metrics are comfortably ahead of the rest of the league, and they face a capable but beatable opponent in Crystal Palace this week. Given Gyökeres' currently underwhelming returns, the value for a third Arsenal defensive spot is appealing. However, my other striker, João Pedro, is scheduled to leave the team for Mateta after this game week anyway, which complicates the timing. Ultimately, the bench boost is widely considered the weakest of all chips, and finally activating it will feel like a minor redemption. I favour the Anderson to Burn move the most to maintain the flexibility for the subsequent reshuffle up front. Best of luck to everyone this game week. Thanks for sending in, guys, and best of luck with the chips. So, moving on to captaincy next, and it's becoming a bit of a redundant segment, isn't it, while Haaland's in the form that he is right now. I think that's 12 games in a row in all competitions that he scored. 95% are captaining him, 3% are going Semenyo, and 1's going for Bruno, 1 for Gyökeres, so we'll move straight on. Onto the experts team for Gameweek 9 then. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not ready, so you can benefit from these every Thursday all season. The team is Raya, Rodon, Gabriel, Senesi, Semenyo, Ndiaye, Bruno, Reinders, Gyökeres, João Pedro and Haaland. The bench does have Dubravka, Tarkowski, Stack and Anderson on it, and you could definitely make a good case for starting Tarkowski over Rodon actually. Leeds in a nutshell, about 7% ahead on the clean sheet odds, but yeah, Tarkowski's been better for defcons. If you think there's a chance Reinders doesn't start again, then even a 4-3-3 with both could work, but surely he does start. Saka catching up with Gyökeres ownership wise, and we might see a flip happen there soon, but as it stands, not quite. Haaland sits at 100% ownership, Semenyo 85%, Reinders still 73% owned, but we might see that bleed continue if more managers want to shift to a 3-5-2 formation and upgrade those sort of spots in the midfield, which was suggested, by the way. If you look at those transfers in, the likes of Gu and Krippy Jr. being bought, they're not players that you want to count on starting every week, so they're looking to go 3-5-2 overall. How many players have you got from the top all-time managers team? It's a good looking team all in all. So, final thoughts and tips. Here's what the top all-time managers wanted to say to you. Chris is showing a lot of patience. He says, I'm rolling this week, which is going to take me to 5 free transfers next week. There are certainly moves I want to make, but the fixtures are not on my side this game week. FPL Fady is still deliberating on Enzo. I was looking at Enzo for this week, but the emergence of Gu and imminent return of Delap are putting me off. You'd probably expect to see João Pedro shift to 10 and Enzo move back deeper, although he might still have pens. Elsewhere, a possible Isak groin injury opens up the possibility of Ekitike as a short-term differential until a Gameweek 13 wildcard. Rupe is another one bench boosting. The plan is to bench boost, but it depends on Anderson. Reinders out for Enzo, but I need 0.3 million to fund it. That could be Tarkowski to burn, but everything changes if Anderson's out, and I might chance the bench boost in Gameweek 11. And lastly, TomTom says, difficult to decide between double Arsenal defence or double Arsenal attack for the remaining fixtures before the break. I'm making sure I have the funds to get Saka. I've seen enough in Gyökeres to think the goals will start to come. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we'll hear from the #1 all-time FPL manager with his team and plans this week. See you soon for the next one.